Hey everyone, this is Ulysses and I would like to welcome you to today's video. And today's video, I have a very special guest with me. His name is Vincent Neate from the UK. And Vincent is a former partner of KPMG based in the UK. And today, I have specially invited him to be on this video because we want to touch on a very sensitive topic that almost all new trainers or new coaches have in their mind, or probably right now you are in the midst of transiting from your current role, whether you are in a corporate role or whether you are doing any other forms of things, you are thinking about transiting from your current role into a full-time trainer or a full-time coach or even a full-time consultant. So obviously, Vincent has been through that journey, and in fact, it was a very amazing journey of how he went through that route. And I would like to pick on Vincent's brain to all of you watching this video here today on what are the golden nuggets that you can pick up from Vincent in relation to your transition from your corporate role right now into a full-time independent trainer or a coach or consultant. So Vincent, thank you very much for being here with us here today.
Hello, Ulysses. Lovely to see you.
Definitely. It's my pleasure to have you with us and also addressing this very sensitive topic, which I believe is going to bring a lot of value to everyone watching this video. So Vincent, yeah, obviously you have been doing very well in your previous role in one of the big 4 audit firms in the world as a partner of KPMG in the UK. And right now, as well, you have transited into a full-time independent, right, consultant, running your own consultancy firm, doing various projects in the country and out of the country. So what is the biggest challenge? Let's start off with what is the biggest challenge that you personally face while you are making the decision to transit from your corporate role into your current consulting role?
So I would answer that by saying, what's the biggest mistake that I made? Yeah, and the biggest mistake that I made was I didn't have one client lined up.
Right.
So I left and I had a blank sheet of paper, and if I'd been more precise about it, what I've done, I'd have started by having one client. I'd have spent the last 6 months in my job making sure I had one client when I left.
Right. Okay, so that was the biggest challenge in terms of not paving the client route during the transition.
Yeah, somebody who was a client beforehand who would say, yes, I will give you X days work for the first 6 months or whatever.
Right, exactly. So how about in terms of your decision to move into your current role? What was the biggest thing that either pull you into your current role or push you into your current role? Either way, that's fine. What was the thing that really made you commit fully into doing what you are doing right now?
So the push was that where I was, I no longer felt that I had values that were compatible with the organization. So I think that our values change all the time. We grow, we evolve, and I have nothing against the organization I was with. It was a fantastic place to work. I was there for 20 years, but my values just changed and I couldn't fulfill them where I was. So that was the push. The pull was that I think I'm an entrepreneur. I think I'm entrepreneurial in my approach. And the pull was I just wanted to try to do something on my own.
Nice. So in just a very quick question, all right, something that is going to go really deep into your personal thoughts. Have you ever, even for a second, all right, Vincent, regretted this decision that you have made?
I've not for a second regretted the decision. I've disliked some of the consequences of the decision.
Right. For example, would you like to share with my audience?
How about money?
Okay. All right. So then,
So the only thing that has been difficult about the decision has been not making as much money as I made when I was employed.
right. And moving forward, let's talk about the topic of money. This is really interesting because at the end of the day, whether we are a trainer or whether we are a consultant, what we really need to have to be sustainable in the long run as a business is really about, as you mentioned, the money. All right. So how do you see yourself being able to balance this need for money?
It's complicated because it depends upon anybody's individual circumstances and who they have depending on them and that sort of thing. So if you have a high paid job, you don't necessarily need as much as you think you do. So that's always worth remembering.
Yeah.
And you have to bring the people who are dependent on you with you. You can't just run off into the clouds like a lunatic.
Right.
I think it's a very personal decision.
Right. Right. And it's really interesting when you mention that. That's a really very good point for all of you watching this video to take note that, especially when you come from a high job where you got to remember that we really don't need the amount of money that we are used to be earning. All right. So that's really one of the things that a lot of new trainers or coaches are really putting themselves back unnecessarily. And it was just very coincidentally, very recently, I worked with a client of mine, a student of mine, who left a vice president job in a really huge company in Singapore. And when we actually sat down to work on the day-to-day needed expenses for him to live, I would say, a luxurious life on Singapore standards, right? A nice house, nice vehicle, couple of holidays to nice countries every single year, good financial support for his family. And at the end of the day, we realized that, or not we, I mean, he realized that all he needed was really only barely half of what he was used to earn. And he took like a good 2.5 years to struggle with the decision of, oh, should I actually be staying in my corporate job? Should I move into starting my own business? Should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? And that struggle went on for 2.5 years. And only when he took a look at the entire picture on a very objective level, he realized that he only really needed less than half of what he was really earning to have a really, I would say, on the way above average living standard based in Singapore. That's really interesting, and it's a very important point that you have made over there, Vincent, and I appreciate that. So for someone who is watching this video right now, he or she is thinking about transiting from an employment role into a full-time trainer or coach and a consultant. Tell me just 3 things, Vincent, just 3 things. I know you will have 20, 30 or 40 things, but just tell us 3 most important things that you really want them to take note of.
Okay. So the first one, is you need to have your USP. What is it about you that's different from everybody else?
Right.
And that doesn't mean you have to be, a totally different kind of coach or a totally different kind of trainer. It just means that whatever you want people to remember you for, it needs to be one thing, because people don't remember 2 things. So you need something that you can kind of go, people go, oh yeah, Ulysses, he does this. Yeah. The second one would be you need to look good on the internet. You need to look attractive. You need to be understandable. You need people to be able to recognize you. And the third one is you need to be nice to everybody, because whoever they are, at some point they may be in a position to help you, and you don't want them remembering that you didn't have time for them, or you weren't nice to them, or you thought you were more important than spending time with them. It goes all the way from the doorman up to the guy who lives in the penthouse. It doesn't matter who they are, you've got to be nice to them.
Nice. Very nice. I think these are very actionable tips or things that anyone that's watching this video right now can really remember, especially if you're making that transition. And in my honest opinion, the higher that you were in a previous employment role, the bigger that struggle is because of the gap that you are perceiving at that point of time. So really take note of whether the gap is really what you think it is. Sometimes it's just like one step away, but it's being perceived by yourself at your current role or your current employment that switch is so big. And obviously, I agree with Vincent that everybody's circumstances are different. So really need to take a very calculated approach in doing this. So I know, Vincent, that you have been very busy and very active in your current company over for the past, I think, the 7 or 8 months since I last spoke to you on a very in-depth level. So tell us, what is one thing? I'm just going to be pushing a little bit further on this video. Something, and tell us one thing. All right, one thing that the coaches can take note of in terms of the business development aspects.
Keep a good track of who you meet and what you do with them, because you don't know where the business comes from, and you need to be chasing all the time. Basically, that's very simple, but you need to bring the timing of your sales cycle down, particularly if you're on your own, because you can only see so many people, and if your sales cycle is longer than 6 months, you've got a real problem.
Right. Okay. That's true. Especially, I think, on a consulting project basis, that's going to be something that's very important to look at the sales cycle. Well, that really depends on the specific area of specialization. Audience is why are they really focusing their effort? Is it training or coaching and consulting? Is very different nature, but that's for another video for another day. So I think there's a lot of value that Vincent that you have brought over to my audience here today. And I think one of the biggest thing that everyone watching this video can pick it up from is that to really hear it from someone who has gone through that journey, not like 20 years ago, very recent, right? Vincent have just made this transition, over the past 1 year, I believe, right? So that is something that I think is very inspirational and very motivational for people who are making this decision right now. So at the end of the day, once again, this is just a disclaimer. We are not promoting any form of decisions that anyone should be making in your life. It's really up to you. But what we really want to bring up, I think both Vincent and me, we are really passionate about our business. To be honest, I think Vincent is a lot more happier right now from my interaction with him running his own business. Yes, we all know money is going to be one thing. Money is the one thing that is always going to be a thing all the time in our life. But what we really want to achieve, I think, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, is really to find the right balance over there without, too much of hiccups to anything that we do in our life. All right. So I think I appreciate Vincent for sharing this journey with us. And any last thoughts for my audience, Vincent?
Yeah, if you're worried about getting work and you think that somebody who's going to give you work is dubious or not good or wants you to do something that you're not happy with, don't do it. It's not worth it.
Right. I think this is one of the biggest flexibility that we have as a business owner. We have the right, and more often than not, we can make the decision to outright reject something that we don't really enjoy doing. Yeah, that is always a very nice perk of being an entrepreneur, being a business owner. Absolutely. Right. So once again, I'd like to thank you, Vincent, for taking your time out over here on a weekday morning on your side to give us so much value over here, especially to my audience. And for all of you watching this video, I'm going to include a link to Vincent's company that is running his own consultancy right now in the UK. So if you want to know anything, or if there's anything that you think that potentially you resonate with Vincent and there's something that you want to get in contact with him, the link is just either above or below this video. So get in contact with him, know what he's doing, and if you want to know more about that, go to that link. So once again, I thank everybody for watching this video, and Vincent, thank you very much for contributing to everyone today.
My pleasure, Ulysses. It's always lovely to talk to you.
All right, so I will see you everyone in the next video.